Okay, so we're going to create a new class here for file handling. We're going to call this one create file demo with a public static void main. So we're going to do some smaller examples first, and then we're going to try to incorporate chapter 14 and what we have been learning in chapters 12 and 13. So the graphical user interface, and then from chapter 15, we're going to bring about the layouts. So we'll try to put everything together in one example. So in order for us to create a file object, we can just create a file object like this. It's a very simple code, and you can provide it with path. Let's say if I want to do it on C drive, names.txt. And you need to organize your imports. You need to organize your imports because file class belongs to java.io package. Now, let's declare a Boolean variable called if found. The purpose of this Boolean variable is to look at the file object's built-in method called create new file. This method will return a value of true or false. If the file already exists, create new file is going to return false. Otherwise, we're going to return true. Now, create new file has to be in a try block. That's why it's saying if I run into a problem, you do not have any piece of code to handle any problems that I may run into. So generally speaking, that is why these kind of statements are written in a try catch block. So let's start our try block over here, followed by our catch block. And we're going to say, okay, this catch block will be able to catch any exception of IO exception type. Again, IO exception needs to be imported because it belongs to java.io package. It doesn't belong to java.lang package. So that is why we have a couple of classes from the IO package. So we are trying the code in the try block. If any of these lines run into an error, it's going to go to the catch. And in the catch, we're going to have a system.out.println statement, which will simply state an error occurred during file processing. Okay. After this, we're going to now make a check. If found equals to true, then do this. Otherwise, do this. If found equals to true, do this. Otherwise, do that. On line number 11, what is unnecessary? On line 11, where I have my if condition, what is unnecessary? So what should I do then? Single equals? They're going to generate an error, a logical error, because I am setting if found to a value of true. That will always be true. Okay, now let me ask you a question like this. If an if condition is followed by a piece of code, if condition followed by a piece of code is written in curly braces, right? When will that curly braces code run? If the if condition is true or if the if condition is false? True. Okay. So you evaluate an expression and the outcome is either true or false, right? Now, if found is already a Boolean variable. It already holds a value of true or false. There is no point of checking is if found equals to true because itself is either true or false. So setting up it like this means check to see if true is equals to true. It means check to see if true is equals to true. or check to see if true is equals to false. So if you just simply eliminate this and leave it like this, it will going to mean like this. If true, do this, otherwise do that. So that is why if the variable that you're checking against is already a Boolean variable, then you are better off writing it like this. This is more performance efficient. It helps you save one comparison. Is everybody following that? So if found, then what should I do? I'll say system.out.println file has been created successfully. So file.create new file. If file gets created successfully, then if found will be true. If the file already exists, then create new file will going to be false. So you're going to say, instead of file got created successfully, you're going to say file already exists. Okay. I think it was blocking the access to the local drive from Java. The JVM was blocking. So I change it to a local folder by giving a relative path versus an absolute path. So this we're going to go through because it's the first time it is being created. So it said file has been. Now I want you to run it again once you get a message created successfully. When you run it again, it says file already exists. Okay, in order for you to see where does the file exist, you can right click on your folder and you can refresh, and you will notice names.txt will now appear in your list. So it's a simple program to simply check to see that I have a file names.txt and I'm interested in creating it. If it is created successfully, well and good. If not, the system will tell me it did not get created successfully because it already exists.